10 hidden habits that keep your home messy. Stop what you're doing right now and look around you. I guarantee there's at least one surface in your immediate view that's cluttered with something you've been meaning to put away later. That single item represents a hidden sabotage pattern that's been silently destroying your home's cleanliness for years. What if I told you that 97% of people struggling with perpetually messy homes aren't lazy, aren't bad at cleaning, and aren't lacking in motivation? The real culprit is 10 specific unconscious habits that create an invisible web of chaos, making it impossible for your home to stay clean no matter how many hours you spend scrubbing, organizing, or decluttering. Right now, as you're listening to this, there's probably a growing pile of mail on your kitchen counter, clothes draped over a bedroom chair, or dishes waiting in your sink. These aren't random occurrences. They're symptoms of deeply ingrained patterns that regenerate mess faster than you can eliminate it. I'm Jessica, and today I'm going to expose the 10 hidden sabotage habits that are secretly undermining every cleaning effort you make. These aren't the obvious solutions like clean more often. These are the subtle, everyday behaviors that create a compound effect of disorder, turning your home into a battlefield you can never seem to win. But before we dive into these life-changing revelations, I need you to do something crucial right now. If you're exhausted from feeling trapped in an endless cycle of cleaning the same messes repeatedly, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you'll want to catch every single strategy I'm about to share, because habit number 7 completely revolutionized my entire approach to home management, and I promise it will shock you too. Also, drop a comment below right now telling me which room in your house creates the most frustration for you. I read every single comment, and your struggles directly influence the content I create to solve your real problems. Your input helps me understand what you're truly facing, so don't skip this step. For years, I was trapped in what I now recognize as the cleaning hamster wheel. I would sacrifice entire weekends to intensive deep cleaning sessions, organizing every closet, scrubbing surfaces until they sparkled, and arranging everything with Pinterest-worthy perfection. The satisfaction was intoxicating for approximately 48 hours. Then, like some cruel magic trick, the chaos would creep back in. Dishes would mysteriously multiply in the sink, papers would scatter across every horizontal surface, and that suffocating feeling of living in perpetual disorder would return with a vengeance. I genuinely believed I was fundamentally flawed, lazy, undisciplined, or simply incapable of maintaining a clean space. I even researched hiring professional cleaning services because I felt like such a complete failure at managing my own living environment. The shame was overwhelming. How could other people seemingly maintain beautiful homes effortlessly while I struggled with the most basic household management? But then I discovered something that changed everything, forever. The problem wasn't my cleaning ability, my motivation, or my character. It was these 10 hidden habits that were working against me every single day, creating an invisible force of chaos that no amount of cleaning could overcome. These habits are so deeply embedded in our daily routines that we don't even recognize them as the true culprits behind our household chaos. They're not dramatic or obvious behaviors. They're subtle, seemingly innocent actions that create a devastating compound effect of mess and disorganization. Today, I'm going to guide you through each of these destructive habits, explain exactly why they're sabotaging your efforts, and provide you with practical, proven strategies to eliminate them from your life permanently. By the end of this presentation, you'll understand why your house never stays clean despite your best efforts. More importantly, you'll have a comprehensive roadmap to break free from this exhausting cycle forever.
Habit number 1. Stop postponing minor tasks. This first habit represents the foundational building block of household chaos, and it's something virtually everyone does multiple times throughout each day without realizing the catastrophic cumulative impact it creates in our living spaces. Picture this all too familiar scenario. You walk into your living room and notice a coffee mug sitting abandoned on the side table. it would take exactly 12 seconds to pick it up and place it in the dishwasher. But instead, your brain instantly calculates, "I'll grab that later when I'm heading to the kitchen anyway." This seems completely logical, efficient, and sensible, right? Wrong. This single moment of postponement has just activated what I call the avalanche effect, a psychological and physical phenomenon that turns small decisions into massive problems. Within an hour, that innocent coffee mug has been joined by a magazine someone was browsing, a phone charger that got unplugged, and a pair of sunglasses that got set down temporarily. By evening, your side table has transformed into a collection point for random displaced items. By the weekend, you're staring at a major decluttering project that requires significant time, mental energy, and decision-making to resolve. Here's the psychological trap our brains consistently fall into. We're evolutionarily wired to underestimate the cumulative effect of small postponements, while simultaneously overestimating the effort required to address them immediately. We think saving 12 seconds now is a smart efficiency move, but we completely fail to calculate the compound cost of dealing with multiple accumulated items later. The mathematics of procrastination work against us in absolutely devastating ways. When you postpone putting away one single item, you're not just delaying 12 seconds of work. You're creating a psychological permission structure that makes it exponentially easier to postpone the next item, and the next after that. Consider laundry as another perfect example of this principle. Hanging up one shirt takes approximately 30 seconds. But when you allow 5 shirts to accumulate on your dresser, the task doesn't just take 5 times longer, it becomes exponentially more complicated and overwhelming. You now have to sort through the entire pile, make decisions about which items need to be laundered versus hung up, create space in an already crowded closet, deal with wrinkles that have developed from items sitting crumpled together, and mentally process each piece individually. What could have been 2.5 minutes of distributed effort throughout the week becomes a 15-20-minute project that feels overwhelming and gets postponed even further. The solution requires a fundamental mindset shift that I call the 2-minute rule with teeth. When you encounter any task that takes less than 2 minutes to complete, you have only 2 acceptable choices. Do it immediately, or create a permanent system that eliminates the need for that task altogether. For example, if you consistently leave jackets draped over chairs because walking to the closet feels inconvenient, install a stylish coat rack in your main living area. If mail always ends up scattered across your kitchen counter, create a dedicated mail station with designated slots for different types of correspondence. If shoes constantly get kicked off by the front door, establish a shoe storage system right at the entrance. The key principle is eliminating the middle ground of later. Later is where clutter lives, breeds, and multiplies exponentially. Later is where good intentions go to die slow, painful deaths. Later is the sworn enemy of a consistently clean home. To implement this transformative habit change, start by becoming hyper-aware of your postponement patterns. For one full week, simply notice every time you think, "I'll do that later," without changing your behavior yet. This awareness phase is absolutely crucial because you cannot change patterns you don't recognize or acknowledge. Then begin implementing the rule gradually and strategically. Start with just one room or one specific type of item. Every time you encounter a displaced object in that designated space, make the conscious choice to address it immediately, rather than postponing the decision. The first few days will require significant mental effort and conscious attention, but by the end of the first week, you'll start seeing remarkable changes in that space. The transformation goes beyond just visual cleanliness. When you eliminate the constant background stress of microtasks, you'll experience a profound sense of mental clarity, control, and accomplishment.
Habit number 2 is to stop accumulating unused items. This habit represents one of the most insidious and gradually destructive forms of household sabotage because it happens so slowly and subtly that we often don't recognize the problem until our homes have reached a critical mass of complete dysfunction. The accumulation of unused items doesn't happen overnight in some dramatic hoarding episode. It's a slow, almost imperceptible process that unfolds over months and years, with each individual addition seeming perfectly reasonable and potentially useful at the time of acquisition. A kitchen gadget that promised to revolutionize your cooking routine but never made it out of its original packaging. Clothing items that don't fit quite right, but might be perfect someday when you lose weight, gain weight, or your style preferences change. Books you intended to read but never opened, sitting like silent judgments on your shelves. Craft supplies for creative projects that never materialized beyond the initial burst of inspiration. Exercise equipment that gradually transformed from fitness tool to expensive clothing rack. Each individual item, when it first enters your home, seems completely reasonable and potentially valuable at the time. The problem is that our homes have a finite capacity for belongings, and when we exceed that capacity, we create what I call a spatial deficit that no amount of organizing, rearranging, or storage solutions can overcome. Think of your home's storage capacity like a bank account. Every item you bring in represents a withdrawal from your available space budget. When you exceed your space budget, you're essentially living in spatial debt, and the interest on that debt gets paid in the form of constant clutter, cleaning difficulties, and persistent mental overwhelm. The mathematics of space work against us in several devastating ways. First, every item requires not just primary storage space, but also maintenance space. You need room to access items, claim around them, move them when necessary, and organize them periodically. Second, when you have too many belongings relative to your storage capacity, items inevitably end up in temporary locations, creating the persistent appearance of messiness even when you've technically put things away. Your home starts looking cluttered and disorganized, even when everything technically has a place. The psychological factors that drive this accumulation are complex, deeply emotional, and often unconscious. We keep items out of guilt, gifts we never used but feel obligated to maintain. We hold on to things out of fear, documents we might need someday, clothes for weather we rarely experience, tools for projects we might someday tackle. We accumulate items out of aspirational optimism, exercise equipment for the person we hope to become, hobby supplies for interests we want to develop, books that represent the intellectual version of ourselves we're striving toward. However, the hidden cost of this accumulation extends far beyond just visual clutter and storage challenges. Every excess item in your home creates mental friction that affects your overall sense of well-being. Your brain has to process and make micro-decisions about that item every single time you encounter it, creating a low-level but persistent mental fatigue. The cleaning implications are equally significant and frustrating. When you have too many items, thorough cleaning becomes virtually impossible. You end up cleaning around objects rather than properly cleaning surfaces. Dust accumulates in hard-to-reach places behind excess belongings. Items get moved from pile to pile rather than being properly addressed or put away permanently. To address this destructive habit, you must become ruthlessly honest about evaluating the true value of items in your current life. Walk through each room systematically and ask yourself 3 critical questions about every single item. Have I used this specific item in the past 12 months? Does this item serve a clear, specific purpose in my current life as it actually exists today? Does this item spark genuine joy or provide measurable value that justifies the space it occupies? Be brutally honest about aspirational items, those things you keep because they represent who you hope to become, rather than who you actually are right now. That expensive exercise equipment gathering dust isn't motivating you to work out more. It's cluttering your space and creating guilt every time you see it. Create a systematic approach to decluttering that doesn't overwhelm you into abandoning the process entirely. Don't attempt to tackle your entire home at once. That approach almost always leads to burnout and giving up. Instead, focus on one specific category of items at a time. Start with books, then move to clothing, then kitchen items, then paperwork, and so forth. This categorical approach allows you to see patterns in your accumulation habits and make more consistent decisions. For items that are emotionally difficult to part with, try the maybe box technique. Place questionable items in a sealed box and store it out of sight for 6 months. If you don't open the box or think about any of the items during that time period, you can safely donate the entire box without even looking inside. Remember, the goal isn't to live in a sparse, minimalist space if that doesn't align with your personality and lifestyle preferences. The goal is to ensure that every item in your home has genuinely earned its place through regular use or meaningful value. When you achieve this balance, cleaning becomes dramatically easier, spaces feel more peaceful and functional, and you'll have significantly more mental energy for the things that truly matter to you.
Habit number 3. Stop leaving your bed unmade. This habit might seem trivial compared to larger organizational challenges, but it represents one of the highest impact, lowest effort changes you can make to transform the overall appearance, energy, and psychological atmosphere of your entire home. The bed is typically the largest piece of furniture in the bedroom and occupies the majority of your visual field when you enter that space. This makes it what interior design professionals call a visual anchor, an element that disproportionately influences your perception and emotional response to the entire room. When your bed is unmade, it creates an immediate impression of chaos, disorder, and lack of intentionality, even if every other element in the room is perfectly organized and clean. Conversely, a well-made bed creates an instant sense of order, purposefulness, and attention to detail that elevates and transforms the entire space. The psychological impact of this simple daily act extends far beyond mere aesthetics. Making your bed each morning creates what productivity experts and behavioral psychologists call a keystone habit, a behavior that naturally triggers and encourages other positive behaviors throughout the day. When you start your morning with this small but meaningful accomplishment, you're setting a tone of discipline, intentionality, and attention to detail that often carries over into other areas of your life and other decisions throughout the day. There's also a powerful psychological principle at work here called the broken windows theory. This theory suggests that visible signs of disorder and neglect in an environment encourage further disorder and neglect. When you leave your bed unmade, you're sending a subtle but persistent signal to your subconscious that disorder is acceptable in this space, which makes it psychologically easier to justify leaving other things out of place. The practical implications go beyond just visual impact and psychological effects. Unmade beds create several functional problems that compound over time and affect the usability of your bedroom. Disheveled bedding is more likely to fall to the floor during sleep, where it collects dust, pet hair, and other debris. Crumpled sheets and blankets don't allow for proper air circulation, creating an environment that's more hospitable to dust mites, allergens, and bacteria. Furthermore, an unmade bed becomes a magnet for other displaced items throughout the day. Without the psychological barrier of a neatly made bed, it becomes remarkably easy to toss clothes, books, phones, or other belongings onto the mattress, gradually transforming your sleeping space into a staging area for clutter. The time investment required for this transformative habit is minimal, typically 2 to 3 minutes each morning, but the return on investment is absolutely enormous. Consider that for less than 20 minutes of total effort per week, you can dramatically improve the appearance, functionality, and psychological impact of one of the most important spaces in your home. To make this habit sustainable and easy to maintain consistently, simplify your bedding setup strategically. Complex arrangements with multiple decorative pillows, throws, and layers create unnecessary barriers to daily bedmaking that will eventually cause you to abandon the habit. Instead, opt for a streamlined approach that still looks polished and intentional but requires minimal effort to maintain daily.
A simple formula that works exceptionally well is fitted sheet, flat sheet, 1 or 2 pillows, and a duvet or comforter. This setup can be made quickly and efficiently each morning while still looking intentional, inviting, and well-designed. If you prefer decorative elements for visual interest, limit yourself to 1 or 2 accent pillows that can be quickly and easily arranged without complex positioning. The ripple effects of this habit extend far beyond just the bedroom itself. Many people report that making their bed each morning creates a sense of accomplishment and momentum that motivates them to maintain order in other areas of their home throughout the day. It becomes a small victory that builds psychological momentum for bigger organizational victories and positive decisions. There's also something profoundly satisfying and restorative about returning to a well-made bed at the end of a long, challenging day. Your bedroom becomes a true sanctuary, rather than another space that demands attention and work.
Habit number 4. Stop storing items without systematic organization. This habit represents the fundamental difference between temporarily hiding clutter and creating sustainable organizational systems that actually work effectively over the long term. Many people believe they are organized because they've successfully hidden items in closets, drawers, cabinets, and storage containers. But without logical, consistent systems, this approach inevitably fails and creates even bigger problems. The fundamental problem with random, haphazard storage is that it creates what I call organizational debt. Every time you put something away without a systematic approach, you're essentially borrowing against your future time, mental energy, and peace of mind. Eventually, this debt comes due in the form of frantic searches, duplicate purchases, and the gradual complete breakdown of your organizational systems. Consider how many times you've experienced this incredibly frustrating scenario. You need a specific item that you absolutely know you own and remember purchasing. You check the most logical location, it's not there. You check 2 or 3 other possible locations with increasing urgency, still nothing. You start pulling things out of drawers and closets, creating secondary messes in your desperate search. Eventually, you either find the item in a completely unexpected and illogical place, or you give up entirely and purchase a replacement. Later, often when you're looking for something else entirely, you discover the original item somewhere completely random and nonsensical. This cycle is simultaneously frustrating, expensive, and psychologically damaging. You waste valuable time searching, spend unnecessary money on duplicate items that you already own but can't locate. You invest mental energy in the stress and anxiety of disorganization. More importantly, you undermine your confidence in your organizational systems, which makes it progressively harder to maintain order in the future. Effective organization isn't about having the most beautiful storage containers, the most sophisticated systems, or the most Pinterest-worthy arrangements. It's about creating logical, consistent homes for your belongings, based on how you actually use them in your real daily life. The key principle underlying all effective organization is that every item should have a designated location that makes sense given 3 critical factors: frequency of use, functional relationships, and practical accessibility. Items you use daily should be stored in the most accessible locations, typically between waist and shoulder height, to minimize physical strain and make access effortless. Items you use weekly can be stored in slightly less convenient locations, and items you use monthly or less frequently can be stored in more challenging locations like high shelves or deep storage areas. Functional relationships are equally important and often overlooked. Items that are used together should be stored together in logical groupings. All your baking supplies should be consolidated in one area, all your office supplies in another designated zone, all your cleaning supplies in a third specific location. This principle seems obvious and straightforward, but many people consistently violate it by storing items wherever they happen to find available space, creating a system based on convenience rather than logic.
The process of creating these effective systems requires an initial investment of time and mental energy, but the long-term benefits are absolutely enormous and life-changing. Start with one specific manageable area, perhaps your kitchen utensil drawer or your bathroom medicine cabinet. Remove everything from that space and clean it thoroughly, creating a fresh start. Before putting anything back, think critically about the logical categories that make sense for your specific lifestyle and usage patterns. Group similar items together and assign specific zones within the storage area for each category. Use drawer dividers, small containers, or other organizational tools to create clear physical boundaries between different types of items, preventing the gradual mixing that leads to chaos. Labeling is incredibly powerful and often underestimated, especially in shared spaces. Even if you think you'll remember where everything belongs, labels serve as helpful reminders and make it significantly easier for other household members to maintain the system correctly. Labels also force you to be specific and intentional about what belongs in each location, preventing the gradual expansion that destroys organizational systems. The most critical aspect of this entire process is consistency and maintenance. Once you've created a logical system, you must commit to maintaining it religiously. Every single time you use an item, return it to its designated location immediately, rather than setting it down temporarily. This might feel tedious and overly rigid at first, but it quickly becomes automatic and natural. The benefits extend far beyond just finding things more easily. When you have clear, logical organizational systems, you save significant money by avoiding duplicate purchases of items you already own but can't locate. You save valuable time that would otherwise be spent searching for misplaced items. You reduce stress and anxiety because you have complete confidence in your ability to locate what you need when you need it. Most importantly, you create a solid foundation that makes all other cleaning and organizing tasks dramatically easier and more efficient. When everything has a logical, consistent home, tidying up becomes a simple matter of returning items to their designated places rather than making complex decisions about where things should go.
Habit number 5. Stop cleaning without strategic planning. This habit represents one of the most common and devastating reasons why people spend enormous amounts of time, energy, and effort on cleaning activities, but never achieve the consistently clean, organized home they desire and deserve. Without a strategic, planned approach, cleaning becomes a reactive, inefficient process that yields frustrating and unsustainable results. The typical approach to household cleaning is what I call crisis cleaning, a reactive system where you clean whatever seems most urgent, most visible, or most problematic at any given moment. You might start in the kitchen because the dishes are piling up and creating obvious problems. Then you notice the living room carpet needs vacuuming and switch focus. Then you remember the bathrooms haven't been properly cleaned in weeks and feel compelled to address that immediately. You jump from task to task, room to room, without completing any area thoroughly, leaving you exhausted and frustrated with a home that still feels generally messy and chaotic. This reactive approach creates several significant problems that compound over time. First, it ensures that some areas of your home are consistently neglected, while others receive irregular but intensive attention, creating an imbalanced and unsustainable system. Second, it makes cleaning feel perpetually overwhelming because you're constantly faced with the entire scope of household maintenance all at once, rather than manageable, focused tasks. Third, it's remarkably inefficient because you're not batching similar tasks together or optimizing your movements and energy throughout the space, wasting time and effort on constant transitions and setup. The solution requires a fundamental shift from reactive cleaning to proactive cleaning through strategic planning and systematic implementation. This means establishing clear, logical systems that ensure all areas of your home receive appropriate attention on a predictable, sustainable schedule,
rather than waiting until spaces reach crisis levels that demand immediate attention. The foundation of strategic cleaning lies in understanding the crucial difference between maintenance tasks and deep cleaning tasks, and treating them as separate but complementary activities. Maintenance tasks are the daily actions that prevent messes from accumulating and creating bigger problems. These include washing dishes, wiping counters, making beds, doing quick tidying sessions, and managing daily clutter before it becomes overwhelming. Deep cleaning tasks are the more intensive, less frequent actions that address areas not covered by daily maintenance routines. These include scrubbing bathrooms thoroughly, vacuuming under furniture, cleaning inside appliances, washing windows, and organizing storage areas. Many people make the critical mistake of trying to do deep cleaning tasks every day, which is both unnecessary and completely unsustainable, leading to burnout and abandonment of cleaning routines entirely. Others make the opposite mistake of relying entirely on maintenance tasks while completely neglecting deep cleaning, which eventually leads to areas becoming genuinely dirty and problematic despite regular surface-level attention. The most effective approach involves creating a structured weekly schedule that intelligently balances maintenance tasks with deep cleaning tasks, ensuring comprehensive coverage without overwhelming any single day or period. For example, you might designate Monday for thorough bathroom cleaning, Tuesday for bedroom organization and cleaning, Wednesday for living area deep cleaning, Thursday for kitchen maintenance and deep tasks, and Friday for floors and laundry management. This systematic approach ensures that every area of your home receives regular, appropriate attention without overwhelming any single day with too many demanding tasks. The key to making this schedule work effectively and sustainably is being completely realistic about your available time, energy, and motivation levels. Don't create an ambitious plan that requires 2 hours of intensive cleaning every day if you only have 30 minutes of available time and energy. It's significantly better to have a modest, realistic plan that you can consistently follow and maintain than an elaborate, impressive plan that you abandon after a week of unsustainable effort. Another crucial element is implementing the zone cleaning approach. Instead of thinking about cleaning your entire house as one overwhelming project, divide your living space into manageable zones and focus on completely cleaning one zone at a time. This creates a genuine sense of accomplishment and progress, and ensures that at least some areas of your home are always thoroughly clean and well maintained, rather than everything being perpetually half-finished. Strategic planning also involves preparing your cleaning supplies and tools in advance, eliminating the constant interruptions that derail cleaning sessions. Nothing destroys momentum and motivation like having to stop multiple times to search for supplies or discover that you've run out of essential products at crucial moments. Create a portable cleaning caddy with all your essential supplies, or establish dedicated cleaning stations in different areas of your home for maximum efficiency and convenience. The psychological benefits of planned, strategic cleaning are as important as the practical benefits. When you have a clear, realistic plan, cleaning becomes a series of manageable, achievable tasks rather than an overwhelming burden that hangs over your entire life. You know exactly what needs to be done and when, which eliminates the mental energy spent on constant decision-making and prioritization throughout each cleaning session.
Habit 6. Stop accumulating paper clutter. Paper clutter represents one of the most insidious and psychologically damaging forms of household chaos because it seems so harmless and manageable when it first appears, but multiplies exponentially and creates a disproportionate mental burden that affects your entire sense of control and well-being. A single piece of paper weighs almost nothing and takes up minimal physical space in your home, but paper clutter can quickly overwhelm entire surfaces and create persistent decision fatigue that affects your ability to maintain order in all other areas of your living space. The unique challenge with paper clutter is that much of it seems potentially important, valuable, or necessary when it first arrives in your home. Bills that need to be paid within specific time frames, documents that might be needed for tax purposes, warranties for appliances and electronics, school forms and communications, medical records, insurance papers, legal documents. Each individual piece represents a decision that needs to be made, research that needs to be conducted, or action that needs to be taken within certain time constraints. When we postpone these decisions and actions, papers accumulate into intimidating piles that become increasingly overwhelming to address properly. What started as a few pieces of mail on the kitchen counter evolves into multiple stacks of papers that require significant time, mental energy, and decision-making to sort through and process appropriately. The psychological impact of paper clutter extends far beyond its minimal physical presence in your home. Each piece of paper in those growing piles represents an unmade decision, an incomplete task, or an unresolved obligation. Your subconscious mind knows these decisions and tasks are waiting for attention, which creates a constant low-level stress and anxiety that affects your overall sense of well-being, control, and mental clarity. The first critical step in addressing paper clutter effectively is creating a strong barrier at the entry point where papers first enter your home. Much of the paper that arrives is completely unnecessary and can be eliminated immediately without any processing or consideration. Install a recycling bin or paper shredder near the location where you typically process incoming mail so that advertisements, outdated notices, duplicate statements, and other unwanted papers can be discarded immediately upon arrival. For papers that do legitimately need to enter your home and receive attention, create a simple but highly effective processing system that eliminates confusion and procrastination. You need only 3 clear categories that cover all possibilities. Action papers, documents that require a response, decision, or specific action within a certain time frame. File papers, documents that need to be kept for future reference but don't require immediate action. Discard papers, documents that can be thrown away or recycled after brief review and consideration. The key to making this system work effectively and sustainably is processing papers regularly and consistently, rather than allowing them to accumulate into overwhelming piles that create anxiety and procrastination. Set aside a specific time each week, perhaps Sunday morning or Wednesday evening, to work through your action folder systematically and completely. During this dedicated time, pay bills, respond to important correspondence, fill out required forms, make necessary phone calls, and address any other decisions or actions represented by the papers in this category. The goal is to completely empty the action folder each week, ensuring that nothing falls through the cracks or becomes overdue due to procrastination or forgetfulness. For the filing category, be extremely selective and realistic. Ask yourself honest, practical questions about each document. What is the actual probability that I will need this specific paper in the future? Can I find this information online if it becomes necessary? Am I keeping this because it's genuinely useful or because I'm afraid to throw it away? Most people keep far more papers than they actually need or will ever reference. Many documents that we think we must keep for legal or practical reasons are actually available online or can be easily replaced if needed. Bank statements, utility bills, insurance policies, tax documents, and many other papers can be accessed electronically, eliminating the need for physical storage and the clutter it creates.
For the documents that you do decide to keep, create a simple, logical filing system that makes sense for your lifestyle and is easy to maintain consistently. A basic file box with clearly labeled hanging folders is sufficient for most households. Categories might include insurance, medical, financial, home maintenance, taxes, and personal documents. The key is making the system simple enough that you'll actually use it consistently, rather than abandoning it when it becomes too complex or time-consuming. Consider digitizing important documents using a smartphone app or document scanner. This approach provides several significant benefits. Digital files take up no physical space. They're easier to organize and search when needed. They can be backed up for security, and they can be accessed from anywhere. Many people discover that once they start digitizing papers systematically, they rarely need to access the physical versions, making the storage question irrelevant.
Habit number 7. Stop allowing dishes to accumulate. This habit has a disproportionate impact on the overall cleanliness, functionality, and psychological atmosphere of your entire home, because the kitchen serves as the central hub for so many daily activities and influences the energy of your entire living space. When dishes accumulate in the sink and on counters, they create a ripple effect that affects not just the kitchen's usability, but your entire home's sense of order, cleanliness, and welcoming atmosphere. The kitchen is typically the heart of household activity and family life. It's where meals are prepared with care, where family members naturally gather for conversation, where children do homework while parents cook, where mail gets sorted and daily life gets organized. When this central space is cluttered with dirty dishes, it creates a significant psychological barrier, but makes the entire home feel chaotic, overwhelming, and unwelcoming to both residents and guests. The problems with dish accumulation extend far beyond just visual impact and inconvenience. Dirty dishes create genuine health and safety concerns that can affect your family's well-being. Food particles attract insects, rodents, and other pests that can contaminate your living space. Standing water in dishes becomes a breeding ground for harmful bacteria and unpleasant odors. Grease and food residue can create slip hazards and attract more serious pest problems. The accumulation also makes it progressively more difficult to use the sink for other necessary daily tasks, like washing hands, preparing fresh food, cleaning fruits and vegetables, or washing other household items. The destructive cycle typically begins innocently with a single dish or glass that gets placed in the sink with the well-intentioned plan of letting it soak for easier cleaning later. This seems like a completely reasonable approach for items with stuck-on food or dried-on sauces. But this single act creates a psychological permission structure that makes it exponentially easier to add more items to the sink rather than washing them immediately. The truth that most people don't realize is that the majority of dishes don't actually benefit from soaking. In fact, allowing food residue to sit on dishes for extended periods of time often makes cleaning significantly more difficult, not easier. Proteins can set and harden, sauces can become sticky and stubborn, and what would have been a quick 30-second rinse becomes a serious scrubbing project that requires significant effort and time. The most effective and sustainable solution is adopting a clean-as-you-go approach that eliminates the possibility of accumulation entirely. This means washing dishes immediately after use, or if you have a dishwasher, loading them directly into the machine as soon as you're finished with each meal or snack. For cooking situations, this approach is particularly powerful and efficient. Instead of waiting until after the meal to address a sink full of prep dishes, wash cutting boards, knives, and mixing bowls as soon as you're done with each cooking step. Clean pans while food is simmering or baking in the oven. Wipe up spills immediately as they occur.
This approach distributes the cleaning work throughout the cooking process, rather than creating a massive, overwhelming cleanup project after everyone is finished eating. To make this habit sustainable and easy to maintain consistently, optimize your dishwashing setup for maximum efficiency and convenience. Keep dish soap, scrubbing sponges, and clean dish towels within easy reach of the sink. If you have a dishwasher, make sure it's emptied regularly so there's always room for new dishes without having to play Tetris or leave items on the counter. Consider keeping a small drying rack or designated area with clean dish towels on the counter for hand-washed items that need to air dry properly. If you live with other people, make immediate dish cleaning a non-negotiable household rule that everyone follows consistently. This isn't about assigning specific dish duty to particular people or creating complex chore charts. It's about each person taking personal responsibility for their own dishes as soon as they're finished using them, creating a system based on individual accountability rather than depending on someone else to clean up after you. The psychological benefits of maintaining an empty sink are profound and extend far beyond just kitchen cleanliness. There's something deeply satisfying and grounding about walking into a kitchen with clean, cleared surfaces that are ready for whatever you need to accomplish. It creates an immediate sense of control, accomplishment, and competence that positively affects your mood and energy throughout the entire day. When this central space is consistently clean and functional, it becomes significantly easier to maintain order in other areas of your home. Many people report that keeping the sink empty becomes a keystone habit that naturally encourages other positive behaviors throughout their living space.
Habit 8. Stop purchasing excessive cleaning products. This habit represents a fascinating paradox in household management that most people never recognize. We intuitively believe that having more cleaning products will make our homes cleaner, more organized, and easier to maintain. But the opposite is almost always true. An overabundance of cleaning products actually makes cleaning more complicated, less efficient, significantly more expensive, and creates its own set of organizational challenges that compound the very problems you're trying to solve. The cleaning product industry has systematically convinced consumers that every surface, every type of dirt, every cleaning challenge, and every household situation requires a specialized, targeted product designed specifically for that purpose. Walk through any grocery store's cleaning aisle, and you'll encounter hundreds of different products promising to solve specific problems with scientific precision. Glass cleaners, wood polishes, stainless steel cleaners, bathroom specialty products, kitchen degreasers, floor care systems, upholstery treatments, and countless other specialized solutions. This sophisticated marketing approach preys on our natural desire for perfect results and our deep-seated fear of using the wrong product for a particular task and potentially causing damage or achieving suboptimal results. We accumulate product just in case we need them for specific situations, creating storage challenges and decision fatigue that ultimately make cleaning more difficult, overwhelming, and time-consuming rather than easier and more efficient. The problems with product proliferation are both practical and psychological, creating a compound effect that undermines your cleaning efforts. From a practical standpoint, having too many options creates what psychologists call choice paralysis or decision fatigue. When faced with multiple cleaning products for similar tasks, you have to spend valuable mental energy deciding which one to use for each specific situation. This constant decision-making process interrupts the natural flow of cleaning and makes the entire process feel more complicated, overwhelming, and mentally exhausting. From a storage and organizational perspective, excessive cleaning products create their own significant challenges. Cleaning supplies take up valuable space under sinks, in closets, pantries, and utility areas that could be used more effectively for other purposes. Many specialty products are used infrequently, occupying prime storage space that could be allocated to more essential, frequently used items. Partially used bottles and containers accumulate over time, creating clutter and confusion in storage areas that are already challenging to organize and maintain effectively. The chemical considerations are equally important and often overlooked. Many commercial cleaning products contain harsh chemicals, volatile organic compounds, and potentially hazardous ingredients that can create health risks when used incorrectly, in poorly ventilated areas, or in combination with other products. Having fewer, safer, more natural products reduces these potential risks significantly and simplifies the learning curve for proper usage, storage, and safety precautions. The financial impact of excessive cleaning product purchases is more significant than most people realize. Specialty cleaning products often carry premium prices for their targeted functionality and marketing promises. When you buy products for specific tasks that arise infrequently, you're essentially paying premium prices for convenience and peace of mind that you rarely actually use or benefit from. Many of these specialty products expire, lose effectiveness over time, or separate and become unusable before you have the opportunity to use them completely, resulting in waste and additional unnecessary expense. The truth that the cleaning industry absolutely doesn't want you to discover is that the vast majority of household cleaning tasks can be accomplished effectively, safely, and efficiently with just a few basic, versatile products that cost significantly less and provide better overall results. A high-quality, concentrated, all-purpose cleaner can handle most surfaces effectively in kitchens, bathrooms, and living areas without requiring different products for different rooms or surface types. Regular dish soap mixed with water creates an effective, gentle solution for many different cleaning tasks throughout your home. White vinegar is excellent for cleaning glass, mirrors, removing mineral deposits, and cutting through soap scum naturally. Baking soda works as a gentle abrasive for scrubbing tasks and odor elimination without harsh chemicals or excessive cost.
A high-quality, concentrated, all-purpose cleaner can handle most surfaces effectively in kitchens, bathrooms, and living areas without requiring different products for different rooms or surface types. Regular dish soap mixed with water creates an effective, gentle solution for many different cleaning tasks throughout your home. White vinegar is excellent for cleaning glass, mirrors, removing mineral deposits, and cutting through soap scum naturally. Baking soda works as a gentle abrasive for scrubbing tasks and odor elimination without harsh chemicals or excessive cost. This simplified approach offers several significant advantages that compound over time. With fewer products, you'll become more skilled and confident at using each one effectively for multiple purposes. You'll always know what supplies you have available, eliminating the frustration and workflow interruption of discovering you're out of a specific product in the middle of a cleaning session. Storage becomes dramatically simpler and more organized, and restocking becomes more straightforward and budget-friendly. The key to implementing this transformative approach successfully is focusing on versatile, high-quality products rather than specialized solutions for every possible cleaning challenge. Invest your money in cleaning tools that will last for years and provide consistently good results. A reliable vacuum cleaner, quality microfiber cloths that can be washed and reused, a dependable mop system, and effective scrubbing tools. These tools often have significantly more impact on cleaning effectiveness and efficiency than the specific products you use with them. For products you already own and have accumulated over time, conduct an honest, thorough assessment of what you actually use and what provides real value.
Check expiration dates carefully and safely dispose of any products that are old, separated, or no longer effective. Consolidate similar products whenever possible. You don't need 3 different all-purpose cleaners or 5 different bathroom products. Commit to using up existing products completely before purchasing new ones, and resist the persistent temptation to buy products for problems you don't currently have or situations that rarely occur in your actual lifestyle. Going forward, adopt a strict one-in, one-out policy for cleaning products. When you purchase a new product, commit to using up an existing similar product first before adding the new one to your collection. This approach prevents future accumulation and forces you to make thoughtful, intentional decisions about what you actually need versus what seems appealing or potentially useful.
Habit number 9, stop combining cleaning with organizing. This habit represents one of the most common and counterproductive mistakes people make when trying to maintain their homes effectively. It's a major reason why both cleaning tasks and organizing projects feel overwhelming, never seem to get completed satisfactorily, and leave you feeling frustrated and discouraged despite significant time and energy investment. The fundamental problem is that cleaning and organizing are completely different activities that require different mindsets, different skill sets, different types of mental energy, and completely different approaches to be successful. Cleaning is primarily a physical activity focused on removing dirt, dust, grime, and contaminants from surfaces and objects. It's about sanitizing, scrubbing, vacuuming, and restoring actual cleanliness to your physical environment through systematic physical actions. Organizing, on the other hand, is primarily a mental and decision-making activity focused on making thoughtful choices about what to keep, what to discard, and where items should be located for optimal functionality and accessibility. When you attempt to do both simultaneously, you create significant cognitive conflict and mental strain that makes both tasks dramatically less efficient, more frustrating, and more mentally exhausting than they need to be. Your brain is constantly switching between completely different types of thinking, physical cleaning actions, and complex decision-making processes, which creates mental fatigue and significantly reduces your effectiveness at both activities. Consider this incredibly common scenario that illustrates the problem perfectly. You decide to thoroughly clean your office area to create a more productive work environment. You start with good intentions by dusting the desk surface, but you immediately encounter piles of papers, office supplies, and various items that need to be moved to access the surface properly. As you move these items, you naturally start sorting through them, trying to decide what to keep and what to discard, where things should be filed, and what needs immediate attention. This decision-making process completely interrupts your cleaning momentum and flow, and before you realize what's happened, you're spending more time organizing papers and making decisions than actually cleaning surfaces. The inevitable result is that neither task gets completed properly or thoroughly. The desk might get partially dusted, but the papers remain disorganized and problematic. You've invested significant time and mental energy, but haven't achieved the clean, organized, functional space you intended to create. The solution is to separate these processes entirely and approach them as sequential, complementary steps rather than simultaneous activities that compete for your mental resources. The most effective sequence is to organize first, then clean systematically. This approach ensures that both tasks can be completed efficiently, thoroughly, and with much less mental strain and frustration. When you organize first, you're focusing exclusively on making decisions about what belongs in the space and where each item should be located for optimal functionality and accessibility. You're creating clear surfaces, logical systems, and appropriate homes for your belongings. This process requires significant mental energy and decision-making capability, but it doesn't require the physical energy and different mindset needed for cleaning. Once the organizing phase is completely finished, cleaning becomes a straightforward, systematic physical task. You can focus entirely on removing dirt, dust, and grime from surfaces without being distracted by displaced items, organizational decisions, or clutter that needs to be addressed. The cleaning process becomes dramatically more efficient because you're not constantly moving things around, working around obstacles, or making decisions about where items should go.
This sequential approach offers several significant advantages that compound to create much better results. First, it allows you to focus completely on each task, dramatically improving your effectiveness and efficiency at both activities. Second, it provides clear, measurable progress markers. You can clearly see when the organizing phase is complete and when the cleaning phase is complete, which helps with motivation and momentum. Third, it prevents the frustrating and counterproductive cycle of moving clutter from one location to another without actually addressing the underlying organizational issues that created the problems. To implement this approach effectively, schedule separate, dedicated times for organizing and cleaning activities. You might dedicate a weekend morning to organizing a specific area of your home, making all the necessary decisions about what to keep, what to discard, and where items should be stored for optimal functionality and accessibility. Then at a later time, when you have different energy and focus, return to that area to deep clean the now organized space systematically and thoroughly. The organizing phase should be thorough and complete before you begin any cleaning activities. This means removing everything from the area, making thoughtful decisions about what belongs there, and creating logical, sustainable storage systems for the items you're keeping. Don't rush this crucial phase or try to shortcut the decision-making process. Take the time necessary to make thoughtful choices about each item and to create systems that will be maintainable long-term. The cleaning phase becomes straightforward and satisfying once the organizing is completely finished. You can focus entirely on sanitizing surfaces, removing dust and dirt, and restoring cleanliness to the space without any clutter or obstacles to work around. You can clean thoroughly and systematically, reaching every surface and corner effectively. This separation of processes also significantly helps with motivation and psychological momentum. Completing the organizing phase provides a genuine sense of accomplishment that naturally motivates you to tackle the cleaning phase. When you return to clean the organized space, you're working with a slick slate that makes the cleaning process more enjoyable and rewarding rather than frustrating and overwhelming.
Habit number 10. Stop taking sole responsibility for household cleaning. This final habit is perhaps the most crucial for people who share their living space with others, yet it's often the most challenging to address because it involves changing not just your own behavior, but also the established dynamics and expectations within your household that have developed over time. The pattern of one person taking on disproportionate responsibility for household cleanliness is incredibly common and pervasive, particularly among women, but it creates an fundamentally unsustainable system that inevitably leads to resentment, burnout, and ultimately a home that can never stay consistently clean because it relies too heavily on one person's efforts and energy. When one person becomes the designated household manager and primary cleaner, several deeply problematic dynamics emerge that compound over time. First, other household members gradually begin to abdicate their natural responsibility for maintaining shared spaces because they develop an unconscious expectation that someone else will handle these tasks. This creates a destructive cycle where the primary cleaner feels increasingly compelled to continue taking on these responsibilities because allowing spaces to remain messy feels psychologically intolerable and reflects poorly on their standards and self-image. Second, the person taking on primary responsibility often becomes progressively more frustrated, resentful, and overwhelmed, but simultaneously feels unable to change the established dynamic. They may feel guilty about asking for help, worry that other family members won't maintain their standards, or fear that delegating tasks will result in arguments, poor results, or more work than doing everything themselves. Third, this approach is simply mathematically and practically unsustainable. One person cannot effectively maintain an entire household while also managing their other life responsibilities, career demands, personal needs, and relationships. The inevitable result is either complete burnout and health consequences or a gradual decline in household cleanliness as the primary cleaner becomes increasingly overwhelmed and unable to keep up with all the demands. The solution requires a fundamental shift in how household responsibilities are conceptualized, discussed, and distributed among all people who live in and enjoy the benefits of clean, functional home. Every person who resides in the space and enjoys the benefits of cleanliness should contribute meaningfully to maintaining that cleanliness. This isn't about fairness, equality, or gender roles. It's about creating a practical, sustainable system that actually works long-term. The first crucial step is having an honest, non-accusatory conversation with all household members about current responsibilities and future expectations. Instead of focusing on past failures, unequal contributions, or blame, frame the discussion around creating a more effective, sustainable system going forward that benefits everyone and reduces stress for the entire household. One highly effective approach is conducting a comprehensive household audit where you systematically list all the cleaning and organizing tasks required to maintain your specific home. Include everything from daily maintenance tasks like dishwashing, mail management, and basic tidying to weekly tasks like bathroom cleaning, laundry management, and floor care, to monthly tasks like deep cleaning projects and seasonal organizing. Once you have a complete, realistic list that reflects the actual work required, work together collaboratively to assign responsibilities based on each person's schedule, preferences, capabilities, and availability. Some people prefer to concentrate several tasks on one day and be completely finished, while others prefer to spread tasks throughout the week in smaller increments. Some people genuinely enjoy certain types of cleaning, while finding others particularly tedious or challenging. Use these individual preferences strategically to create a system that leverages everyone's strengths and minimizes resistance. For families with children, this process becomes an invaluable opportunity to teach essential life skills while distributing age-appropriate responsibilities that prepare them for independent living. Young children can learn to put away toys, sort laundry by color, and help with simple cleaning tasks that build competence and confidence. Teenagers can take on more complex responsibilities, like managing their own laundry completely, cleaning bathrooms thoroughly, maintaining specific areas of the home, or handling particular weekly tasks consistently. The key to making shared responsibility work effectively is establishing crystal-clear expectations and consistent accountability systems that eliminate confusion and ensure follow-through. Each person should understand exactly what they're responsible for, when tasks should be completed, what standards are expected, and what the consequences are for not following through on commitments. This clarity eliminates confusion, reduces conflict, and increases the likelihood that tasks will be completed properly and on time. One particularly effective technique is implementing brief daily or weekly family meetings where household tasks are reviewed, progress is acknowledged, and any issues or challenges are addressed promptly and collaboratively. This creates natural accountability and ensures that problems are identified and resolved quickly, rather than building up over time into major conflicts or systemic breakdowns. Another powerful approach is the synchronized family cleanup, where everyone in the household participates in focused cleaning activities at the same time. This might happen every evening after dinner, every morning before work and school, or at designated times during weekends. The key principle is that everyone participates simultaneously, creating a sense of shared responsibility, teamwork, and collective investment in the home's appearance and functionality. For households where traditional task assignment doesn't work well due to varying schedules, different energy levels, or other logistical factors, consider implementing a rotation system where less desirable or more challenging tasks are shared equally over time. This ensures that no one person is permanently assigned to the most difficult or unpleasant responsibilities, and everyone shares in both the easier and more demanding aspects of household maintenance. Remember that delegating responsibility also requires accepting that others may not perform tasks exactly as you would, with your specific standards, or using your preferred methods. This requires letting go of perfectionism and control and focusing on the bigger picture of creating a sustainable, shared system for maintaining your home that doesn't depend entirely on one person's efforts. The benefits of genuinely shared responsibility extend far beyond just having a cleaner, more organized home. When everyone contributes meaningfully to household maintenance, it creates a powerful sense of collective ownership, pride, and investment in the shared living space. Children and teenagers learn invaluable life skills and develop strong work ethics that will serve them throughout their lives. Adults feel more supported, less overwhelmed, and more capable of maintaining work-life balance effectively. The entire household becomes more functional, harmonious, and sustainable when everyone contributes to creating the living environment they all enjoy and benefit from.
Implementation strategy for lasting change. As we conclude our journey through these 10 transformative habits, it's important to remember this isn't just about cleaning or organizing, it's about creating a home and life that feel intentional, manageable, and deeply satisfying. The habits we've covered, eliminating procrastination on small tasks, removing unused items, making beds daily, creating logical organization systems, planning cleaning strategically, managing paper clutter, keeping sinks empty, simplifying cleaning products, separating organizing from cleaning, and sharing household responsibilities are interconnected. Their true power comes not from individual impact, but from the cumulative transformative effect when implemented together. However, attempting all 10 at once often leads to overwhelm and abandonment. Instead, focus on one habit at a time. Spend your first week observing your current patterns without trying to change them. Notice triggers, circumstances, and emotions that maintain old habits. In week 2, begin actively implementing the habit while maintaining awareness of old patterns. By week 3, the habit should feel more natural, allowing you to introduce the next one. Repeat this gradual process every 2 to 3 weeks. Consistency, not perfection, is the key. Slips are normal. What matters is restarting without guilt or self-judgment. Over time, your home transforms from chaotic and stressful into a sanctuary that supports your goals, relationships, and well-being. Share your progress in the comments and connect with others on this journey. For additional support, check out the comprehensive implementation guide with action plans, checklists, and step-by-step instructions in the description below. Start with one habit, stay consistent, and watch your living space and your life transform. Your future self, living in a calm, organized, and functional home, is already thanking you. Take action today, commit to change, and embrace the remarkable difference you can create in your daily life.